who have paid the last full measure of devotion. Today we remember and pay tribute to the bravest among us who sacrificed their tomorrows so that we may have our todays. Memorial Day was once known as Decoration Day. It had its beginnings following the Civil War. This fact makes this occasion one that is of special importance to the sons of Union veterans of the Civil War, whose mission it is to preserve the history and the legacy of the heroes who fought and died to save the Union. In its earliest days, Memorial Day was an occasion for families and communities to remember their fallen loved ones following the horrors of the Civil War. They participated in solemn parades and ceremonies in churches and cemeteries across the country. These events attracted thousands of people. Community leaders, clergymen, veterans, and others would speak for hours about the heroic deeds of the fallen. While today's ceremonies here at the historic Reisterstown Community Cemetery will be less formal than those of the 19th century, the James A. Garfield Camp, Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, invites you to join us in honoring those who died defending our country in all of our nation's wars. Today, the brothers of the Garfield Camp wish to recognize the sacrifice of all of our brothers and sisters lost in service to our nation. From the fields of Bunker Hill, to Gettysburg, to San Juan Hill, to Belleau Wood, Pearl Harbor, North Africa, and Okinawa. As we approach the 75th anniversary of the historic invasion of Europe, let us remember the boys of Omaha and Utah beaches. Let us honor those who served in airborne units, who parachuted into the darkness over France, never to return. Let us recognize those of the Army, Air Corps, and Navy who sacrificed themselves in service of their country. Let us honor all of those of the greatest generation who were lost saving the world from tyranny. We honor the heroes of Chosin and Khe Sanh. We honor the heroes of Operations Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom, and Enduring Freedom. Today, we honor all of our American heroes lost in the service of our nation, at all of those places and in between. Today, we reflect on the true meaning of Memorial Day. I'm not referring to the backyard barbecues, the trip down the ocean, or the holiday retail sales. Today is about acknowledging sacrifice. In keeping with the tradition established by General Logan in 1868, we ask all of you to join us in placing flowers on the graves of veterans who have found their final resting place in this cemetery. Through today's reflections and community fellowship, you are helping us keep this true meaning of Memorial Day alive, and how this timeless celebration has endured over the last 150 years. Again, thank you for joining us. Let us begin our ceremony by playing the national anthem, followed immediately by the Pledge of Allegiance and our invocation. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chaplain will now provide our invocation.
Let us pray.
Let us pray. God of life and death, service and sacrifice, courage and compassion, we gather together to remember those who died while serving our nation, whether decades ago or only yesterday. As dreamers, we pray for a day when nation shall not lift up sword against nation, nor ever again study war. As realists, we accept that there are circumstances where force must be met with force. We thank our soldiers, sailors, and pilots for doing that which we wish never needed to be done. God of peace and war, concord and conflict, hope and heartbreak, we pray that the sacrifices of our fallen will forever be remembered, and that recognition of their sacrifices not merely convey thanks, but demonstrate it. May we not merely proclaim peace to those near and far, but bring peace by doing the work required to realize it. May this be our blessing. Amen.
The third stanza of America the Beautiful captures nearly perfectly the sense of service and sacrifice that has been saluted at Memorial Day observances. It says, "O beautiful, for heroes proved, in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life." Today we honor those that have served our country and given their lives so that we may still live in freedom. It is a good thing to be constantly reminded of our gift of freedom and about those who have given that sacrifice so that future generations can continue to know a life in a free democratic society. Remembering those who have passed is only half of the task that is before us today. We must also carry their love, honor, duty forward to the future generations. Our children must know who their heroes were and what they did and why they did it. To do anything less, to let those stories go untold and untimely forgotten, would be a disservice to their sacrifice, their memories, and a part of their very core that makes us Americans. To paraphrase General and President Garfield, our camp's namesake, the silent sentinels that crown yon granite columns will look down upon the boys who shall walk these streets for generations to come. And he will not let them sleep when the country calls. More than the bugler on the field, from his granite lips will go out a call. While today is a day to remember, we would like to take this opportunity to recognize the young patriots of the next generation who are preparing to heed that call. Those young men and women who participate in the JROTC and ROTC program. The Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War acknowledges their patriotism and service with its JROTC and ROTC award program. At this time, I would like to introduce Garfield Camp ROTC Coordinator, Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Bonning, United States Air Force retired, to say a few words.
We, the descendants of soldiers, sailors, and Marines who served in the Army or Navy of the United States of America during the War of the Rebellion of 1861 to 1865, have formed this patriotic and fraternal order for the purpose and objects in this Constitution set forth. For purposes and objects in this Constitution set forth, and in doing so, pledge ourselves to commemorate our fathers' deeds, to render loyal service to our country, and to promote the maintenance of unqualified American citizenship with respect for respect and honor to the flag. By honoring deserving cadets, we help promote the maintenance of unqualified American citizenship, because it will be these young people who will eventually serve in our nation's military under the flag our forefathers fought to preserve. We believe it right to reward those who have stepped forward to accept the challenge of leadership in defending our nation's flag, principles, and freedoms. By honoring those who serve today, we show our respect for those who have served in all other wars in the past. Our definition of a deserving cadet is one that shows a high degree of patriotism to his or her nation and has demonstrated a high degree of academic performance and leadership. Today we are excited to recognize Cadet Jordan Lee of Dundalk. Unfortunately, Cadet Lee is unable to be present with us today, as he is currently serving with the Dundalk JROTC Color Guard on duty today on Memorial Day. The members of the JROTC program represent the future of our country. May God bless them and keep them safe along their journey. Those who have gone before created a clear pathway for us, and we must never waver from that path of freedom and democracy. Take their memories, take their dreams, and walk forward, shouldering the cause of freedom, and carry it high and carry it proudly. They did, and now it is up to us to walk forward for them and for our children and future generations yet to come.
The Reisterstown Community Cemetery is a place steeped in history. It has been lovingly maintained, and we are indebted to those who work diligently through the year to keep it so. I would now like to introduce Garfield Camp Junior Vice Commander and a member of the cemetery's Board of Trustees, Mr. Brad Sharpless, to provide a few remarks on behalf of the trustees.
On behalf of the trustees of the Reisterstown Community Cemetery, I want to welcome everyone to our annual Memorial Day ceremony, and thank you for coming out for that. I'd also like to extend our thanks to those members of the community whose financial support of our work here is really what makes what we do possible. We couldn't do it without the community's support. And I also want to take a moment now to recognize some of our distinguished visitors here today. We have Delegate Ben Brooks, and Councilman Izzy Patoka's office has sent a representative too, it appears. And I want to invite those gentlemen up here if they'd like and provide a few remarks.
Thanks, Brad. Good morning, everyone. I just want to say that I don't think there's any greater honor than recognizing and paying homage to those who have fallen and who's gone out there and to protect and serve our country, than to be recognized as what we are doing today. Just a little bit of context. I'm from the Vietnam era. This was back in '69, and my buddy and I, we weren't getting along too well with our parents, so we decided we're going to fix them. So we went and joined the Army on the buddy plan, thinking we were going to be together through basic, AIT, and station together. Well, that lasted 3 days. That was through orientation. We both went to Nam. He was up north in Phu Bai. I was down south in Saigon. And we didn't see each other again until we got back stateside. But thank God we got back, That was a very, very unpopular war, But the average age of the Vietnam vet was 19. I was 19 when I went over, But here again, we got back, and I think we've learned from that experience. We're honoring our troops now when they go and come back. And my argument has always been that when we send our sons and daughters to war, I don't care how you feel about it, we've got to go there with them. But here again, I want to thank everybody for coming out for this, and this is definitely an honorable way of showing your support, your dedication for those who protect our freedom throughout the many years. Thanks. I'm Ben Brooks, and I approve this message. So.
How are you guys? For those of you who haven't met me, either at PCRC meetings or Reisterstown Community Associations, my name is Carlos Gonzalez. I work for Councilman Izzy Patoka, But today's not about me. Today's about all our members here and our fallen soldiers who I just want to give my deepest thanks for them for serving our country and giving us the freedoms that we deserve. I'm a young one, so I'm only 21, but a lot of my high school friends, I had actually around 11 that actually went on and served either Navy, U.S. Army, or Marines. So this one goes out to them while I'm, going to college, going to all these cool things. They're out there, they're training, and they're serving our country. So I'd like to thank them, and I'd like to thank these young gentlemen here. So thank you guys, and thanks everyone for coming as well.
Now like to invite Garfield Camp Brother and SUBCW Department of the Chesapeake Past Commander Farron Taylor to read General Order Number 11. This directive issued by General John Logan, Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, which established the national observance of Memorial Day.
The 30th day of May, 1868, is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion and whose bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. In this observance, no form of ceremony is prescribed, but posts and comrades will, in their own way, arrange such fitting services and testimonials of respect as circumstances may permit. We are organized, comrades, as our regulations tell us, for the purpose, among other things, of preserving and strengthening those kind and fraternal feelings which have bound together the soldiers, sailors, and Marines who united to suppress the late rebellion. What can aid more to assure this result than cherishing tenderly the memory of our heroic dead, who made their breasts a barricade between our country and its foes? Their soldier lives were the reveille of freedom to a race in chains, and their deaths the tattoo of rebellious tyranny in arms. We should guard their graves with sacred vigilance. All that the consecrated wealth and taste of the nation can add to their adornment and security is but a fitting tribute to the memory of her slain defenders. Let no wanton foot tread rudely on such hallowed grounds. Let pleasant paths invite the coming and going of reverent visitors and fond mourners. Let no vandalism or avarice or neglect, nor ravages of time testify to the present or to the coming generations that we have forgotten as a people the cost of a free and undivided republic. If other eyes grow dull, other hands slack, and other hearts cold in the solemn trust, ours shall keep it well, as long as the light and warmth of life remain to us. Let us then, at the appointed gathered time, gather around their sacred remains and garland the passionless mounds above them with the choicest flowers of springtime. Let us raise above them the dear old flag they saved for this honor. Let us in this solemn presence renew our pledges to aid and assist those whom they have left among us as a sacred charge upon a nation's gratitude.
the soldiers and sailors, widow and orphan. By order, John A. Logan, Commander-in-Chief. I'm going to disrupt the order of the ceremony for a moment here to recognize one more guest. We have Delegate Adrienne Jones, the new Speaker of the Maryland House of Delegates, with us here, and I will offer her the opportunity to step up if she's so inclined.
Plumbing problem. I had to let the plumber in, so but I did not want to miss this ceremony that I try to do every year along with Delegate Brooks. And this year you have a beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day, and I want to reinforce the importance of those of us who represent you in Annapolis in terms of being there in support. And although I am Speaker, I know which district that I represent. And I don't know what the status is on the wall, whether the reimbursements, but we still are going to provide support for what is needed in the community. And I especially like this particular ceremony, the placement of the flowers, because you're recognizing those who gave their ultimate sacrifice, and we get to remember them by these flowers that are placed on their graves. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and any assistance I can be in any way to any of you and the community. Please do not hesitate to let me know. And thank you for the community for coming out.
At this time, Mr. Tim Sedmak, patriotic instructor, will recite a poem from Longfellow.
Decoration Day.
Decoration Day by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Sleep, comrades, sleep and rest on this field of the grounded arms, where foes no more molest, nor sentry shot alarms. Ye have slept on the ground before, and started to your feet at the cannon's sudden roar. O'er the drum's redoubling beat, but in this camp of death, no sound your slumber breaks. Here's no fevered breath, no wound that bleeds and aches. All is repose and peace, untrampled lies the sod. The shouts of battle cease. It is the truce of God. Rest, comrades, rest and sleep. The thoughts of men shall be as sentinels to keep. Your rest from danger free, your silent tents of green, we deck with fragrant flowers. Yours has the suffering been, the memory shall be ours.
In keeping with tradition, Brothers of the Garfield Camp will now place a wreath at the base of the flag in honor of all of America's fallen service members. After the wreath has been placed, we will pause for a moment of silence, and then please join us in singing My Country 'Tis of Thee. The song's lyrics are in the printed program. Past Commander Bill Elliott will now place the wreath. please join us in singing My Country 'Tis of Thee? As we close our ceremony today, we remember all of those who have come before us and have given their last full measure of devotion to our country. The service of our fallen veterans is the fiber of the word freedom and is made strong by our recognition of it. We honor that service and sacrifice today and commit ourselves to carrying it forward for future generations to honor. Freedom and democracy are gifts bequeathed to us by the most honorable this country has produced. Today, as we remember them, we must continue to carry the burden of their sacrifice, lest we lose sight of what true freedom is. Let us therefore stand in honor and in awe of them, walk in their path of duty, remember the price they paid, and hold in your heart the cause for which they died, freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, as this ceremony nears its end, I want to thank you for helping us fulfill one of our most sacred obligations, the honoring of our nation's fallen. The chaplain will now provide the benediction. Immediately thereafter, we shall hear the playing of taps. While taps is played, please stand with your hand over your heart or render the hand salute if you are active duty service members or veterans. Once taps has concluded, please come forward, gather flowers, and join the brothers of the James A. Garfield Camp and your neighbors as we decorate the graves of the veterans who are buried in this historic cemetery. Note that each veteran's grave is marked with an American flag. Late May was chosen for Memorial Day for good reason, namely because it offered the opportunity to adorn graves with the brightly colored flowers of spring, and that is precisely what we will do shortly. Chaplain.
Let us pray. Dear God, they went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end, against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Amen.
Folks, please come forward and select flowers to be strewn on the graves at your discretion. Thank you for coming.